We now know why President Biden has not been to the border. He's way too busy.
Do you have plans to visit the southern border?
I've been there before, and I haven't. I mean, I know it well. I guess I should go down, but the whole point of it is I haven't had a whole hell of a lot of time to get down. I've been spending time going around looking at the $900 billion worth of damage done by hurricanes and floods and weather and traveling around the world. But I plan on, now my wife Jill has been down.
Oh, good. The White House got testy after being pressed on Biden's claim that he has visited in the past without any evidence.
Well, Peter, as you may have seen, there's been reporting that he did drive through the border when he was on the campaign trail in 2008, and he is certainly familiar with the fact, and it stuck with him, with the fact that in El Paso, the border goes right through the center of town.
Does that count as a visit? He said, I've been there before. You're saying he drove by for a few minutes. Does that count?
What is the root cause? Where are people coming from who are coming to the border, Peter?
Greg, she blamed Trump, but he drove through the border. 50 years in politics, and he drove through.
I also, if that counts, I also actually went to Turkey once because I had a connection there.
That's right.
Like, you know, do you ever do that? You count where you've been as a
the States.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I've been to actually, no, I just went to the gift shop and waiting for my next flight. You know, part of me says the less he does, the better, but he's still doing stuff. That's the problem. If he was just a bumbling consultant hired because he's your uncle's best friend, that would be fine. But he's actually in charge of stuff. And it's kind of scary. So I'm almost being hypocritical saying that I should be happy that the country's on autopilot, but maybe it's not on autopilot. Maybe there's somebody in the cockpit and it's driving this plane into the ground, and maybe they actually know what they're doing.
No, it's somebody back in the galley nipping at the sauce, and there's nobody in the cockpit, potentially.
There you go.
Right? Jess, why would he go to the border at this point? Because he's going to be greeted by the people who are trying to enforce the laws of the country. The Border Patrol vilified falsely by Biden, Border Patrol on horseback, all the ranchers who are now packing heat wherever they go because people are like swarming over their land. He would get chance of let's go Brandon for sure. Sorry.
It's a good Friday laugh there, Kennedy. Going to the border and making immigration specifically from the southern border is not something that Democrats tend to do. That's just a fact. It's nothing that they want to run on. This has been consistent for decades. Donald Trump loved going to the border. He's even gone to the border since he hasn't been president. And he doesn't go to places that he doesn't want to go. He doesn't want to show up in Flint, Michigan and talk to people about the water quality there. These are about electoral priorities. He does have someone in charge of the border.
To Chicago, when they were in Chicago, he should have gone down and seen the South Side. But he just does events, just like he said he went to the border.
He's also only been in office
for 8 months. He flew into El Paso in 2008, drove to New Mexico to do a political event, and then drove back to the airport and flew out of there.
But
that's going to the border?
It's your priority. And you think that that's what the most important issue is?
The country's priority. It's the country's priority.
It's not the country's number one priority.
Number 2 issue facing this country, illegal immigration. And you're a pollster, and you should know that.
Are you a pollster?
Yes, she is.
I had no idea.
Big-time pollster over here.
She's pregnant.
Greg, that's not what...
Big time.
That was bad, Greg.
How dare you?
That was bad, Greg. Be nice. Where's good Greg?
Do you have anything else to say?
I just was going to say, it's funny that he says he's too busy to go to the border. He goes to Delaware every weekend. He's been to Camp David 10 times, Dagan. 10 times. He's been to an international trip once. This week, he had a 3-day week. He took off Friday and he took off Monday. I don't know what he's doing.
About golf outings and
he doesn't do anything. At least Trump went somewhere. Air Force One sitting on the tarmac, lonely as hell. Air Force One's, it's just, I feel bad for Air Force One.
Voice the baby.
Come sit on me, Joe. That's all Air Force One says. They just want us to do something.
This big baby.
All he does is go to Scranton. Scranton and Michigan. There's other states
Brandon.
to go to.
Oh, God. Hi. He should go to the border. What is happening to human beings at our southern border is awful and cruel. And he's the president. He signed a bunch of immigration executive orders that he has completely backtracked on. He is relying on the Trump immigration policy to the point of almost leg humping. I mean, I just say that because my dog has started doing that.
And he overturned, one of his executive orders was strictly to just get back at Trump. That's all it was.
Yeah.
Political, emotional.
Now he's like, you know what? The Remain in Mexico policy is actually quite cogent. Let's go ahead and use that. They don't have a policy. They don't have a plan. They should have a plan. They've got the votes. They can do something on immigration. If they're not going to get infrastructure, if they're not going to get this massive spending bill passed, then at least streamline the system so people can humanely enter this country so they're not passing through viciously awful parts of Central America to almost certain death in many cases, with kids unaccompanied being sexually abused. And it's awful. And they need to acknowledge that. And that's one of those things, another one of those things on top of inflation, the supply chain in Afghanistan, where they pretend everything is great. It's not great. Right. It's horrible.
I was just surprised that Biden wasn't prepared to answer that question and did a crap job of answering it, despite Anderson Cooper feeding him pureed food.
He also had the question. It was a pre-screened question.
Dr. Jill has been down there, Dagan. I mean, come on. When your wife goes somewhere, it's basically the same thing as you going.
And by the way, she's a medical doctor. She was probably there treating patients.
Yeah.
I have the same kind of doctor. Let's not. And I'm a pollster, and I'm big.
Coming up.
That's not what I meant.
That's not what he meant. Pollster.
Pollster.
Not offended.
It's like a pejorative.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.